the News Channel 5 network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. Nick Barris here with you on a Wednesday, and an interesting show to talk about this morning. The politics that's going on nationally, locally. The people with such strong opinions, as you just heard yesterday with so many of the different opinions when we had John Harris on talking about, gun control and violence and all of this, and the differing points of view, and to the point where some people, especially in politics these days, are so dug in and so angry, and they're like, that other side, they're idiots, and I'm not going to listen, and it doesn't go anywhere. And I think all of us would agree that's happening. There's extremes on both sides, but just, between the Democrats and Republicans and even beyond that, sometimes it's hard to find any common ground, and that in general is unhealthy. Now, that doesn't mean convincing someone of your line of thinking necessarily, but maybe gaining a better understanding of someone else's point of view. So perhaps there can be discussions that reach a compromise in things, because when two sides don't talk at all, nothing gets done. No matter how strongly you feel about something, you maybe just need to give a little, and that's kind of my take, compromise and where that goes. So political polarization, how to change that, what can be done? Yeah, that's a great question. But there's an organization that's been around now for more than 3 years. It's nationally, and it's nonpartisan. It's called Better Angels, and there's a chapter here in Middle Tennessee as well that works toward that very goal. I was not really aware of it myself until, talking to her about it, and I'm going to introduce you to her right now. Lynn Heady's with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I mean, kind of laying that out there. People are like, yeah, sure. Folks are mad at each other and they don't get along, but Better Angels, Lynn. I mean, it sounds to me like you have a incredibly difficult task. This could be from the movie Mission Impossible. Getting to more of a dialogue. Explain if you would. All right. Give us a little background on Better Angels.
Okay. First of all, before I begin, you're hired. That introduction was perfect.
I hope that's what you're after.
It is absolutely what we're after, and that's the kind of people that are drawn to Better Angels.
Okay.
It started in 2016. Probably a little bit before the election, when a gentleman in New York who heads up a conservative think tank decided that something had to be done. Mm-hmm. He called a friend in Ohio. He said to this friend in Ohio, I am just distraught about what's going on in the country. I hear people picking at each other, going crazy with each other. What can we do? How about if we try something in your area in Lebanon, Ohio?
Okay.
Unlikely spot, but there you go. David Blankenhorn, this gentleman from New York, then called Bill Doherty, who is a professor of marriage and family therapy, University of Minnesota. Liberal. So, we've got this balance here.
The conservative coming up with the idea in the first place reaches out to this liberal professor. Okay,
exactly.
Again, I just want to keep emphasizing as we're talking here this morning, this is nonpartisan.
That's correct.
So their goal is not like, let's get people together and try to change them to our point of view.
Absolutely
The purpose for Better Angels is to just open a dialogue so maybe you have a better understanding of why someone sees things differently and that you may be able to work together better.
Yeah.
That's
we used
a fantastic goal. We used to do that.
Yeah, we did, and I remember that.
To do that. It's funny. I worked on a fellowship in Washington, D.C. for a congressman for a year, and it was a wonderful experience. And this was about more than 2 decades ago. And I remember Congressman Tim Penny from Minnesota, and he finally said, I'm not running for re-election. It was after I had left. A year later, he said, I'm tired of it because no one's listening anymore. There's no compromise. That was 2 decades ago. If he thought it was bad then,
that's right.
What it is today now, and I've been back to D.C. several times since, it's not even close. Back then was great compared to now. And so, I mean, you're absolutely correct.
It's bad. It's so bad. It's not only just bad on the national scene, in the political scene. Mm-hmm. It's affecting families. And I'll tell you.
How so? Meaning?
Let me give you my personal story, because I think this is how, of our 8,000 members, how many of us came to know Better Angels. I have a large family. I grew up in a home where there were certain, beliefs and systems that I carry with me, as we all do. Mm-hmm. As I matured, I changed. Some of my family did, some of my family did not. So we found ourselves on opposite sides of the debate about what's happening in our country. It got to the point where it was uncomfortable to be around the table with some family members.
Well, it's like they say, you don't bring up politics at Thanksgiving, right? I mean, which is a good rule of thumb. But in general, in your family, it was just because you knew where they were and you guys were so adversarial?
It really got to a point where I came back, to Nashville. I had been with family for a holiday, actually. And I said, I have to do something about this. So I went to my political party first and decided I was going to join up and I was going to do something. And as I sat there, I realized this is just as dysfunctional as what I'm seeing nationally. We're all doing it. So Better Angels was having a workshop, which is how we work here in Nashville. And a friend called me and said, you want a spot? And I said, sure. So I went and I did the spot. And I immediately said, this is something I want to do. This is what brought me to it. Our goal is to bring people together, reds, blues, conservatives, liberals, it doesn't matter. We operate on what's called the rule of balance.
Okay.
For every red, there's a blue.
Okay.
We model it through the employees we have, those people who are paid employees. There are a scattering of those. Through volunteers. I am state coordinator in Tennessee. I'm looking for someone of the opposite color to partner with me to lead the state.
Okay.
So we do everything that way. Our workshops, we try to get an equal number of reds and blues.
How do you go about finding them? Different ones to participate? Is it word of mouth initially? Because here's my thing. I think a lot of the people that participate in these workshops are, you're right, red and blue, but they may be the ones that, in my opinion, are a little more realistic and moderate and at least recognize the value of this. And I'm just wondering, what I really want to see are some of the ones that are extremes come together, and they're going to walk into this, if you can get them to even show up, very skeptical. But like anything, if you do sit down and sit next to someone, no matter how much you may differ on some very key issues, you're going to find some similarities because you're both human.
Yes, exactly. And to get people, quite honestly, it's not easy. People are skeptical. They're afraid to come and be in a situation where they're going to confront issues that are uncomfortable.
Yeah. Especially if they think nothing you can say is going to change my mind. But I guess that's where I hope you emphasize this is not about changing your mind. This is us respecting your point of view, whatever it may be, but just learning to respect someone else's as well. And heck, maybe they'll say, well, I don't even respect that, but maybe understand it.
Exactly. Actually, we ask folks before they come to a workshop, especially a red-blue workshop, where there is that one-on-one kind of possibility of confrontation. Right. We assure them that it is a very structured design, it's safe, but we also say to them, are you coming to get on a bandstand or are you coming to truly understand? If what you want to do is get on a bandstand and promote what you believe only and not listen and understand, you're not ready for our workshop. It isn't that you're not appropriate.
I think I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
You're not ready yet.
And some of them do come back, actually.
Okay.
Some of them do. So we have different kinds of workshops. We have 8 different ones that we offer. This past Sunday we did a debate.
Okay, so I wonder what the breakdown is, how you do it, what are the discussions? So a debate, meaning you'll have the red and the blues, and then there'll be some?
No, it's a Better Angels debate.
Oh.
Okay, so we're going to shift our thinking from us against them to working together.
So what was
Better Angels debate is more like a parliamentary debate, which is people get up and give their points of view, and then you have the opportunity to question them through a debate chair. So we have a moderator or a debate chair who's been trained. We have a group, Sunday we had 30 people. 4 people initially speak around a resolution that the group comes up with together. So the resolution that we came up with for Sunday, this team that came together, was that if we reduce the number of firearms in our country, the number of violence and conflict will be lessened. Okay. And so we had people who were willing to speak with or for the resolution and those that were willing to speak against it. They have 4 minutes. When their 4 minutes is up, people in the audience have a chance to ask them questions through the debate chair. Okay. You know, Mr. Debate Chair, would you please ask Lynn what she meant by X, Y, and Z?
So each side getting to and that's a great topic, because as I said, we did a show on that just yesterday and last week. I mean, gun control is a very, very emotional and important issue nationally, but especially in Tennessee, where the Second Amendment. I mean, people have really strong opinions about their weapons, and that's a good discussion. But it's so strong that some people aren't going to listen. You know what I mean?
Well, but you know what I learned on Sunday, which surprised me. There are as many people who identify as blues as there are reds who are worried about the Second Amendment, who are coveting their weapons, who don't want anybody taking away, who have that fear. The reason the debates are so important, and I think really the direction that makes most sense, is that there is no right and wrong. Everybody comes with a different opinion. I heard some things that changed my way of thinking a little bit, but that's the whole point. I understood the young man who stood up and talked about owning, and I don't know the term, one of those semi-automatic crazy weapons.
No, an AK-47 or something like that, a sporting rifle.
One.
Okay.
So I could say to the debate chair, Mr. Chair, could you please ask the speaker why he needs that? What does he do with that? I mean, I was genuinely curious. It wasn't a gotcha question.
No.
And that's the kind of discussion that occurs at these debates.
And then maybe you get an understanding that he likes owning a weapon like that. Either he's a collector or he enjoys the target practice he goes with it and things like this, which are reasonable answers, you know? And okay, all right, we have to take a break on that note. I think I want to get more into how you do this and maybe more of your observations on how it plays out, you know, after one of these sessions, you know, how everyone feels about it. And if there have been any where they get a little out of hand, I don't know, it could be with that group together, depending on the topic. Look, we'll take a break. The number 737-7587, just from your perspective as you watch, and oftentimes, you know, what she's talking about here, I like to think we kind of try to do on a show like MorningLine sometimes is answer people's questions and try to be respectful of different points of view, as we did yesterday on this gun control issue and all of that. But would you participate in one of these meetings? Anyway, we'll take a break, tell you more about it, take some of your phone calls right after this.